So UFC Fight Night Vegas 32, Sandhagen versus Dillashaw takes place this weekend, and it has such an amazing main event that I feel like that's all anyone's talking about. There are so many talented prospects up and down this card in the bantamweight division, in the middleweight division, so I thought why not make this video today and tell you guys the fighters to watch out for at UFC Vegas 32. Let's start with one of them on the main card right now in the bantamweight division. Phillips is in the feature fight position of this card, taking on Raulian Paiva. Phillips, 9-1 bantamweight, amazing fighter. Really showed us what he was all about in his bout against Song Yadong recently, who's a really tough opponent himself, 16-4 at the time. And Phillips went out there and just straight up beat Song Yadong as a mixed martial artist. Maybe it was close on the feet here and there, but Phillips showed he's got the stand-up ability. He's got some grappling in there as well. He's got great reactionary takedowns. He showed a great amount of great double legs in the center of the cage, slamming Song Yadong to the canvas. And Song Yadong is not an easy guy to take down, and he was working his way back up, but Phillips just really mixed the martial arts extremely well against Song Yadong and showed everyone what he was made of, because before then he was taking on Gabriel Silva and it was a decision win, and it was a great win, don't get me wrong, but he took on Cameron Else, and Cameron Else is not a good fighter whatsoever. I understand that of course it was a short notice replacement, but still Cameron Else is not a good fighter whatsoever, and he got easily destroyed by Phillips. But I think his last fight against Song Yadong really showed everyone what Phillips is made of, and I'm on board. He's only lost one fight in his career by a split decision against Victor Henry, who was 14-4 at the time on the regional scene. I really like Phillips, man. I think he's got a great style, very entertaining, a great nickname as well, The Matrix. Great nicknames make great stars in the UFC. Sometimes you just have to have the right name. And Kyler the Matrix Phillips is the correct name to be a big name in the UFC. I could definitely see that on a poster somewhere as the main event of a fight night down the line. He's taking on Raulian Paiva, and I know that Raulian Paiva is also a short notice replacement. He was supposed to be taking on Rafael Assunção. Even still, a great short notice replacement. I know that he's not a highly ranked flyweight fighter, and we have seen him lose some fights here and there, and we've also seen him maybe get some questionable decision wins that maybe he didn't earn. Raulian Paiva is still a 20-3 professional MMA fighter, so this is going to be a good test for Phillips. If he makes it look easy, I definitely feel like he's ready for the top 10 of the bantamweight division. Phillips is a dangerous man. Good reach for the division, 70.5 inches for a 5'8" guy. Very good reach, in all honesty. I'm really looking forward to seeing his bout, man. Phillips is a great fighter. He's actually got a 72-inch reach rather than a 70.5-inch reach. That just randomly refreshed itself in the middle of me recording this video. I'll take it. We're just changing Phillips's reach every 10 seconds. That's why he's so dangerous, maybe. You slip a jab, you think you're out of the way, then all of a sudden he updates his reach to another 1.5 inches, and he starts catching you with that jab. I really like Phillips's style. 9-1. Could well be 10-0. It was a split decision loss, and he's taking on Raulian Paiva here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do next. He dresses well, he speaks well on the camera as well. I like Phillips. I think he has all the potential to go on and be something really great in the division. And also, he trains with a lot of great bantamweights as well. Listen, I know it's not maybe the best gym in the world, the MMA Lab this is. It doesn't have a lot of world champions right now, like other gyms do, like CKB and maybe Trevor Whitman's gym, Team Elevation. However, MMA Lab, as a bantamweight gym, has Casey Kenny, Phillips, Sean O'Malley. They've got a great amount of training partners to go with non-stop. There will always be a UFC level bantamweight to train with in that gym, and I think they're really pushing each other to the next level right now. Casey Kenny, close decision loss to Dominic Cruz, but also some good wins in the UFC as well. Sean O'Malley, of course, doing some good stuff right now. I believe he's now 6-1, 5-1 in the promotion. Phillips leading the charge, undefeated in the UFC, looking to break into the top 10, and I believe he will this weekend against Raulian Paiva. Moving on to another very promising bantamweight prospect, which is Adrian Yanez, 27 years of age, another young gun in the UFC. We've still got until November, the very end of November, until he's 28, so maybe we can cram in one more fight if he wins this one is in impressive enough fashion. 13-3 Adrian Yanez. He's only lost, other than his second fight in his career as a pro, He's only lost split decisions to Domingo Pilate, who's a good fighter, to Miles Johns, who's a great fighter as well, and he is taking on Randy Costa this weekend in the bantamweight division. I feel like he's going to get the win over Randy Costa, which is why I'm picking him to talk about in this video over a guy like Randy Costa, because when you look at the two levels of competition that these two guys have taken on, they both had a bit of an amateur career. Adrian Yanez had a longer amateur career, took on some good opponents, a 3-0 guy in like an amateur series championships, moves on into the pro scene, and he starts taking on some decent opponents, like a 6-1 guy, Domingo Pilate, who's a giant man for the bantamweight division. In my opinion, Domingo Pilate is the biggest weight bully in all of combat sports, period. I don't know if you've seen this guy at the bantamweight division. He recently got KO'd because he's somewhat become a little bit more chinny recently, because he cuts a shit ton of weight, but if he can get a grappling going on you, I feel like he's such a weight bully, so I don't even take that loss too badly for Adrian Yanez. But he has improved tenfold recently. He's been through LFA, he's been at Bellator before, he's been at Fury FC, he's been back to LFA, won his fight in the LFA against 10-4 Kyle Estrada, moved on to the Contender Series, gave the guy the 3-piece no soda required. Let's be real, it was an amazing finish on the Contender Series over Brandy Huang. It was a great win. The guy's 11-1 that he took on, destroyed him in the first round, pink. The guy goes down, amazing finish, and you're thinking to yourself, how in any way can Adrian Yanez live up to the hype of his Contender Series finish? He goes out there against Victor Rodriguez and just molests him with a head kick as he's running away from Adrian Yanez, puts him down with a head kick KO. This is the bantamweight division. This guy's lighting people up and putting them away. Moving on to his next fight, you're like, how on earth could he ever beat a head kick, then a 3-piece no soda required before that? And he goes out there and gets a clean straight right hand right on the chin of Gustavo Lopez. Has a great performance before that as well, and shows that he can go 3 rounds. Also shows that he has 1-punch KO power in the 3rd round of a bout, which is very intriguing to see, because usually that power fades as it goes on. Is he going to be the same way after the 1st round? He's lost some decisions in his career. Does he slow down as the fight goes on? This is the biggest test of his career so far, most definitely. Randy Costa is a dangerous man. I feel like this is going to be a 1st round finish for Adrian Yanez, but Randy Costa, man, the head kick KO over Journey Newson can't be ignored. Like, he has a wicked win over Boston Salmon as well, who had a lot of hype on him, got a vicious KO win over him, lost to Brandon Davis earlier in his career, but if you look at that fight and you watch it closely, he clearly has a bit of a leg injury in that fight. You can kind of see his leg sort of jittering in and out of position, and as he's walking around, Joe Rogan wouldn't shut the fuck up about it on commentary, but that's Joe Rogan. He never does. He loves it when fighters get injured in the middle of the cage, Joe Rogan. He can't fucking stop mentioning it. Either way, Randy Costa, great opponent. I just don't feel like he's fought the same level of competition, and I don't think he's matured as a fighter enough as Adrian Yanez is. Adrian Yanez has had his losses. He's had to bounce back. He's had a couple of them. He's strung together more wins. He's got way more experience. He's been under big promotions. He's fought for Bellator, fought for LFA. Randy Costa kind of had a very babied career, in all honesty. 0-4 guy to start his career. Stacey Anderson, it might not have even been a fucking guy. It probably was a woman. That's how babied of a career he's had. Kenny Lewis, this sounds more male. 0-0 guy, 5-9 opponent, 0-1 opponent, and these are good wins. He's finishing them in the 1st round. He's annihilating them, and when he did eventually take that step up against Journey Newson and Boston Salmon, he did get good wins. However, I don't think he's going to beat Adrian Yanez. I think Yanez's hands are so crisp, he's going to catch Randy Costa straight on the chin in the 1st round. As Randy Costa probably loads up a wild exchange, I think he's going to get beaten to the punch. I just really like the composure that we're seeing from Adrian Yanez. You don't see this from other fighters. The calmness that he goes out there with, the smoothness to barely slip out the way of shots. Maybe there's some danger in that, him slipping his head off to the side, keeping it off the center line, with a guy who follows up his hands with follows up his punches with head kicks like Randy Costa. Maybe Adrian Yanez slips out the way of a punch, walks right into a head kick, or leans right into a head kick. Who knows? I think this is a great matchup, but I believe that Adrian Yanez is going to get the job done. He's just a little bit more matured of a fighter, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do next. And the guy is just got star written all over him. If he gets another finish, he's on his way to a top 5 finishes video before even being ranked in the UFC. That would be amazing. So if he wins this one, think it's definitely time to at least get him to a position where he's going to have a ranked opponent next, or maybe even get into a position where you take on a guy who, if you beat him, you're going to get put at number 15 in the bantamweight division, maybe even a Sean O'Malley. That would be amazing if Yanez gets a KO here, calls out Sean O'Malley, and we can do Yanez versus O'Malley. I don't think the UFC are going to want to do that. I think they want to keep these guys to take on each other when they're at the top of the division. I'm sure they don't want to cancel out all of their stars at once. Either way, Adrian Yanez, amazing fighter, amazing boxing. Mini Masvidal, he's amazing, so watch out for him. Adrian Yanez, looking forward to his bout with Randy Costa. Moving on to the middleweight division, Punahele Soriano. Now, I have not really been too big of a believer in Punahele Soriano because I was kind of waiting for him to take on someone where maybe we can see if he's really all that. And he took on Dusko Todorovic and Oscar Piakota and annihilated them in 1 round each. And I was amazed by this. And he just literally walks down these opponents and just obliterates them. You don't see this kind of stuff often in the UFC where someone is just, it almost seems inevitable when he's in the cage that eventually he's going to get a destructive KO in the first round. All of his finishes have been inside the first round of fights. He has 1 decision win over Jamie Pickett, which is mainly the reason why I didn't really want to pick him against some of these opponents like Dusko Todorovic, because I thought, well, Jamie Pickett is not a good fighter. Don't take him to a decision. And then I thought to myself, hang on, he took that Contender Series bout without a full camp against Jamie Pickett. He slowed down after the first round a bit, but he still got the job done when he needed to in round 3, securing a good takedown to keep control time. He showed that he has good cardio, and he's shown the ability to completely send someone into orbit in round 1. I mean, he knocked down Dusko Todorovic about 3 times, eventually finishing the job, and Dusko Todorovic recently bounced back with a loss, but went to a decision, showed that he's not just some chinny guy that's just going to go down with ease. You've really got to put it on him to put him away, and Punahele Soriano is a dangerous, dangerous man. I think he's going to go out there and KO Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen is a great test, though. This is definitely the biggest test of his career. I don't care if Dusko Todorovic was 10-0. Brendan Allen's 16-4 is way better than any undefeated record. He has fought great opponents up and down the rankings. He's coming off a big win against Carl Roberson, who's a good opponent himself. He beat Kyle Dalkaus, he lost to Sean Strickland, but he beat Tom Breeze, Kevin Holland, great opponents throughout his career. He lost earlier to Anthony Hernandez and Eric Anders, but he has great wins and he's fought great opponents. He's been around in Legacy FC, in LFA, in great promotions outside the UFC, and he's shown that he's actually belonging in the UFC right now, and I think the winner of this one could be looking to maybe take the number 15 spot in the middleweight division. I doubt it. Maybe only if it's Brendan Allen they would do that. But if Punahele Soriano wins, you're definitely looking at a ranked opponent next. I just can't wait to see him fight because he literally just trucks forward and chucks fucking bombs left, right and centre until they land on your chin. And they land on your chin, and when they do, you go to sleep. And there's not really much negotiating room there. It's just, this is going to happen. I'm trudging forward towards you with my head down and my fists are flying, and Brendan Allen is going to have to figure out a way to deal with that. We'll see if he can. He does have good cardio. Maybe he could work this into the later rounds, but I'm going to go with Punahele Soriano getting a first round KO here, just with brutal efficiency and devastating fashion. If he wins this one, definitely give him a ranked opponent next, because we've got a real star on our hands. Punahele Soriano, 8-0 now, will be 9-0. Maybe they want to get him to 10-0 before they give him a ranked opponent. I wouldn't even mind. Trains at a good gym in Extreme Couture. I like Punahele Soriano. And again, another young guy, 28 years of age. Got another 4 months until he turns 29. We've got a bunch of prospects on this card. I don't know why the card was laid out the way it was earlier, because we also had a guy like Chris Dalkaus on this card. He recently got pulled off and they were all on the prelims. Now it's good to see Yanez versus Randy Costa on the main card, but can I just ask a question? Punahele Soriano got a wicked first round KO on Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar's card to open up this year. Over a decent opponent, not the best opponent in the world, don't get me wrong, but 10-0 at the time, Dusko Todorovic. 10-0. He whooped him in the first round on the main card of a UFC on ABC fight card with Holloway as the main event. Why is he now downgraded to the prelims when he's taking on a tougher opponent? He's a bigger name. He's undefeated. He's coming off a wicked KO. I don't understand the layout of this card, but I'm going with Punahele Soriano here. So look out for Adrian Yanez, Punahele Soriano, and also Kyler Phillips on the main card. And yeah, Obviously, Miranda Maverick's pretty good as well. So, just watch her if you want. I don't really give a fuck. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Watch out for those names. But I'll tell you this. If Randy Costa gets a win over Adrian Yanez, also equally look out for Randy Costa. And also, if Brendan Allen gets a good win over Mr. Punahele Soriano, got to watch out for Brendan Allen. There's a lot of talented prospects, and they're facing off against each other, which is the best thing, because that at least, I guess, guarantees that one of your big prospects are going to get the job done. Looking forward to it. Going to be fireworks. This weekend's card is not just a good main event. Goodbye.